Bear Element, Episode 8, recorded 22nd August, 2012.
Welcome, everyone.
Welcome.
Well, we've got some really fantastic guests today. This is Vito, by the way.
Hi, Vito. This is Clay. Yes, we have two guests again.
This is Tim. Thanks.
I was just responding to Vito. Tim, you're welcome.
And Wolfie is sick today. He hurt his ankle.
Oh, get well, Wolfie.
Yes, get well.
Alrighty.
So, we have some guests. This evening we have with us Tonio and Nino from the Balls of Furry volleyball team.
There's some innuendos in that name. A lot, actually.
What?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, balls like testicles. Instead of fury, it's furry.
I never thought about it.
Oh,
I hadn't either.
Right.
Anyway.
You've embarrassed our guest, Vito.
Oh,
good job.
Okay. Is this a bear organization?
Well, yes and no. I mean, we were sort of founded with the intention that we would be a volleyball group with a focus on the bear community. We've sort of evolved over time. We're more of a bear influence group, so our group is really mixed. Bears, cubs. I think at this point about half our group is
admirers,
quote unquote admirers.
Lots of them.
Speaking, right?
Yes, this is Tonio.
Yeah, just introduce yourselves.
Hi, and this is Nino.
And this is Tonio.
All right.
Does everybody in the group have a name that ends in O?
No, this is just coincidence.
Okay, just checking.
Now, Nino, I understand there was, when Tim asked you to come on the podcast, you had to find a second person, and you asked some other guys in the group, right? What happened with that?
Well,
how did Antonio get chosen as the second guy?
Well, because Tony is one of the founders, and so he knows more about the team history, and I like to have somebody with me to support me.
There you go.
Nino just touched me.
Nino's not your type?
Not really.
Are you sisters?
We're sisters, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Hairy sisters.
Yes.
What's the season? When do you play?
Season is pretty much year-round. We're a team, but we participate in a bigger organization, which is the North American Gay Volleyball Association, or NAGVA. And NAGVA has been around for quite a while.
30 years, I would say?
20 to 30 years. I think, actually, when we were in Vegas for Nationals in May, I think that was their 20th anniversry celebration. So NAGVA has been around for a long time.
I didn't realize there was a national organization.
Yeah, it's really big, and really what it is, it's sort of every city that has a gay volleyball league. Ironically enough, San Francisco does not have one, but most of your major cities do have gay volleyball leagues. And we all sort of make up what is considered the North American Gay Volleyball Association. So each major city, New York, Chicago, Denver, Dallas, throughout the year will host different sizes of tournaments on different levels, B level, double B, A, and double A. And those various categories are sort of determine how big the tournaments are going to be.
And I heard that in Vegas there were also some Olympic players. So the level is pretty high.
The level varies. We're considered a B team, which is an intermediate team. We take on basically anybody that has an interest in playing volleyball. So, yeah, if the three of you wanted to come and join us, you would be more than welcome to, despite whatever your level may or may not be.
I've actually come out. I've joined you guys one time when you were set up over at for the Bears in the Park over here at Dolores Park. Mm-hmm. So, I had a great time.
And so we don't have a league here in the city. How many teams are there in San Francisco? Is it just the one?
No.
There's as far as a bear team is concerned, we're probably the only bear team / group in the city, in the Bay Area.
But in terms of participate in the gay tournaments around the country?
From the Bay Area, I think there's usually a consistency of 6 to 8 teams that...
in our level.
Yeah, at our level.
And that's not enough to sustain a league, then?
It is. I mean, I think we've been talking about the possibility of bringing the league back to San Francisco. San Jose has one. Sacramento has one. So if, our neighboring cities can have one, why can't we?
Interesting.
So they've had it in the past. For whatever reason, they fell apart. And we've, since the success of Balls of Furry, we've been talking about the possibility of bringing one back.
Okay. I think Clay had a question about, are there any other bear-related teams in the world that consider themselves bears
Well,
that you know of?
probably in Vegas there was one team from LA. They were registered as the Cubs or something related to the bear ward.
Occasionally, you'll see some other teams from other cities that'll be a one-time, like the LA Bears and Cubs team. But I think, at least for the last 2 years that we've been participating with NAGVA, we've been sort of the only consistently bear and admirer team, if you will, team that's been registered with NAGVA. So it's sort of something that a lot of people from other cities that have been following us have been sort of looking at wanting to do something similar. Just because we don't just focus on the tournaments, but we also focus on the social aspect of it as well. Like you mentioned, Bears in the Park. Recently, we did a tournament also at Lazy Bear. We do a lot of social events just within our group and open it up to people who are interested in just socializing. So it's a lot more than just volleyball.
So what percentage of the, roughly, of the teams that you play are gay versus, non?
Or boys and girls?
100%.
Yeah, I would say probably 100%. I mean, teams are invited to be co-ed or, straight and gay or whatever they consider themselves. Okay. So for the most part, the NAGVA and our team as well, I mean, most of our members are gay individuals, but we're trying to sort of break up the consistency of that and be a little bit more diverse. We're trying to get some more women involved, and, like I said, our group is very ethnically diverse as well.
Cool. You don't see a lot of that in some of the organizations in San Francisco. There's not a lot of, ethnic diversity in a lot of the organizations, so that's nice to hear.
Okay. Well, this Vito, I thought about joining you guys, but I'm afraid being so big that I might fall and hurt myself on the... Because I actually know how to play volleyball.
Cool.
But I don't want to fall and hurt my knee on, when you guys go to the gym with the gym floors. Is that a factor?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously it's a concern. I mean, I injured my knee. I tore my ACL meniscus in our very first tournament as a group, actually. Yeah, you're not encouraging you still play with us, but no. Actually, what we do, and this is sort of the reason why I bring that up, is because we're trying to actually do clinics where we're teaching individuals who don't have a lot of volleyball background the correct skills and the correct way to play, so that
you don't have
right, so that you're limiting your possibility of getting injured. So, yeah, I mean, it's obviously a concern. I actually, when I got injured, I made a huge mistake of going skiing a couple weeks before and had a little twist of my knee, and I probably shouldn't have played. So that was sort of my own fault. But as far as, your size, your body weight, things like that, I mean, if you want to just come out and have fun, I think it's a good activity just to get out, not only just meet new people and socialize, but, I mean, I think the activity level is also good for you. And like I said, the clinics that we do, we teach you how to play correctly. So
it would definitely be good for me to move around, of course.
And I don't think anybody will scream at you if you don't dive for the ball. So
No, we won't.
No.
Is barely reaching okay?
There's some other bigger guys on the team, though, too, isn't there?
Oh, yes.
Nino, you're drooling.
Are there balls furry?
I don't know, Nino, are they?
Nino, have you...
Why would I know?
Wait, there's no team showering? What?
What about the audition process?
I think Vito's out. There's no team showering.
Darn it. Oh, remind me to get your logo. Put it on the website.
Yeah, we have T-shirts for all of you guys.
Little bears.
That's a cute T-shirt.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is actually our official logo. We had a contest for it.
Nice.
So we had people from actually the whole Bay Area. We opened it up to the whole Bay Area, and then the team selected which one they wanted. And then from that point, we made a banner, and we had a beer bus that was themed around the revelation of the logo itself.
Wow. Great idea.
Yeah, it went over really well. So now we actually have T-shirts that have our logo on it. So
I think we should do that with the podcast. Sorry,
yeah, we could steal that idea. Now, do you have any of those where the bear's going grrr as he hits the ball? little voice boxes out there, or thought?
We don't, but that's not a bad idea.
Yeah, we could add it.
It's a little too happy to be growling.
The lightning bolt. I like the lightning bolt because it signifies action.
Yeah.
So who did the design for this?
His name is Tua. He actually lives in Sacramento. He has a background of doing sports jerseys. He was the one that won our contest. We gave him I think it was $100 prize for doing it. If you guys know Killer Bob,
Yep.
he is actually working on a new T-shirt for us right now, which will be just more of a social T-shirt that we're going to be using primarily as a fundraiser for the group.
Great.
Oh, super. Well, you mentioned the tournament in Lazy Bear, which brings us to one of our favorite segments with our guests to ask you either or questions. I guess since we're going to ask the question, we should probably answer this too. So we'll start with Tim. Tim, are you top, bottom, versatile?
Oh, this is very personal.
Or what was the other? Oh, jaded.
Jaded.
The other category, jaded.
I guess I pushed for this question, didn't I?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you didn't think that you'd actually have to answer it, did you?
Answer?
I'm like, I was fine with the boxers and briefs, but apparently.
Well, we can't answer that every week. I mean, then, we need to keep it at least interesting for our guests.
Just them the question that we don't have to answer it again every time.
Sure.
They need to answer.
Yeah, but we don't know how you've answered previously. So.
That's right.
Well, Nino listens.
So,
but
Tim,
still.
how would you answer that question?
Versatile.
Okay. Vito? And you can.
Uncomfortable silence.
Okay. Moving on. I'll answer
That's
the
not
question.
one of the categories.
Let's just say that I
could be
did the
jaded.
one thing with the girls that I don't do that anymore.
Well,
Figure it
we'll
out.
also say that when I first met you on Bear 411, you were lying about your at the time, but your profile now tells the truth. So there you go. I'm versatile, or is it my friend?
I forget how long I've known you.
Yeah, or as my friend Thomas says, I'm versatile. I swear. So, Tonio, jaded, and Nino,
And yeah, versatile.
versatile.
Why do you have to limit yourself?
Exactly.
Switch hitter.
So tell us about that that Lazy Bear tournament where you're all divided up labels, I guess.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, Nino couldn't be there with us, so we wish he had been. We wanted to do something that was just fun, and this was really the first time that we got organized and decided to do something while everybody was up there for Lazy Bear. We actually partnered with the TNT campers, which a lot of our members of the team are also members of the camping group. So there's a really large outdoor grassy space at our campsite, and we set up a couple of nets, and we decided to have an outdoor grassy tournament. We came up with the title of Tops versus Bottoms.
That's hysterical.
So we actually had 4 teams. So besides there being tops and bottoms, we also had a versatile team and Team Jaded. So, and it was a lot of fun. The weather was perfect. We did it tournament style with pool play, and then depending on how many games you won or lost, you were seeded either first, second, third, or fourth. First place versus fourth place, second versus third, and then the teams battle each other in a tournament. And ultimately,
Tell them who won.
it was the bottoms who won the tournament. they took the glory for the day.
And we had a bunch of angry tops.
Of course, it's everybody from San Francisco.
Yes.
So it was like there was 2 people on each of the other teams, and 50 bottoms.
What do they say? The bottom is always in control.
Are you
By
top
the way,
or the loco?
Tony, that was amazing that you were able to keep that stream of consciousness going while you were talking, while we're over here fidgeting with the mics and throwing candy bars at each other. That was great.
Yeah, you were
I'm a professional.
completely undistracted by us.
I'm professional and jaded.
Well, cool. Well, is there anything else you want to share with our 14 listeners about Balls of Fury?
Hey.
Well,
15. 16.
well, we actually
Millions.
going down to Long Beach tomorrow for a tournament over the weekend, and our team Balls of Furry will be competing with other teams from all over California, and let's hope to bring home some medals.
Excellent. Best of luck to you.
Well, let's get a little dirty here. So, what is the partying like after the tournament, or during the tournament?
Well,
Wow.
Is
Wait,
it like the Olympics where they went through like millions
Tony,
of
you're turning
condoms?
red.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. I do turn red.
Wait,
so when we travel, we try to have a hot tub. So hot tub
Oh
with a
yeah,
hot tub.
our
That's a
hot tub
request
photos are
from
infamous. If you've ever
everybody.
been to our Facebook group, you can see some of our hot tub photos. So those are definitely infamous. Yeah. It kind of depends on the tournament and how much time we have. When we were in Vegas for nationals, many of us took a couple extra days after the tournament just to. Well, I mean, it's Vegas. I mean, come on, yeah, basically. And yeah, I mean, how often are you in Vegas with a bunch of other gay volleyball players? So that was definitely something to take advantage of.
Not to digress, but the future king of England.
True. Yes.
It's topical.
Yes.
Apparently, what happens in Vegas doesn't stay in Vegas.
No,
Right.
not every royalty.
Was that the heir or the spare?
The spare.
Okay, yeah. Is he killing his brother? Wait.
He's cute.
Yeah. Well, you also take another annual team trip that has nothing to do with volleyball, and tell us a little bit about that.
So we are about to organize our Disneyland invasion for Gay Days.
All right.
And we will all wear our red T-shirt. We'll get, many rooms for that event and go there and have fun with other thousands of people.
So, and Vito, you have a long history with Gay Days at Disneyland since you're a Southern Californian at heart.
Well, I headed a group for a while called the Disney Bears, and then there was 2 rival Disney Bear groups for a while there. And what I would do is after that, I organized a group down in Orange County called the OC Bears, and we would kind of unofficially sponsor the lunch, and we at the Hungry Bear, and I'd have little snacks and stuff on the tables in the back for people, for the bears to just for fun, little gummy bears and things.
Vito is all about the snacks.
Yes, indeed. These wasabi peanuts or almonds are awesome.
Every time we have a recording, he's like, snacks? Who's bringing snacks?
Who's bringing snacks?
Yes.
Certain things have to be in place. Anyway, so I have a long history with that. I'm actually going through withdrawals. It's like I don't have a pass anymore. Moved up to San Francisco, and I'm not going to Gay Days because I'm getting a new apartment. And it's like,
Well, how's your experience at Gay Days in general, guys? This is Clay. I've never been, and it's so funny because to me, like when I was in the military, when I was on base, I was an airman or a sergeant. I wasn't a gay human being or a straight human being. I can be very, maybe even hyper focused about what I'm doing. Like when I'm on campus, I'm a student. When I was younger. And so when I'm at Disneyland, I'm just a big kid, and I wouldn't think about sexual politics or things like that. And so the idea of going there specifically as a gay person, it's not that it didn't appeal to me. It's just something that never occurred to me. I was like, oh, that's interesting. But, I never went.
Funny you said that. It just triggered that I actually got interviewed for an article, and one of the things I said about Gay Days is that it gives adults an opportunity to be childlike and a little free for the gay community, because you actually feel safe, and people hold hands, and you have that sense of community with the sea of red. It's just kind of like this almost a mob mentality.
Oh, okay.
Like we're in control today, and then everybody's nice and sweet. It's just a great day.
All the gay guys are typically wearing the red shirts, and there's always that one straight guy who's there with his girlfriend who differently wore a red shirt, who's holding on to her like his sexuality and life depends on it.
Yes, but they have a policy, and they can go in and get a T-shirt for free if they feel uncomfortable. Yes, Disney has that policy.
About that.
Yeah.
It used to be a private party years ago, but Disney kind of stopped doing private parties. So now it's unofficial, and it's just, organized with a website. And I'll put the website on our website, the link, and just everybody shows up that day. It's much more formal in Florida.
Orlando, yeah.
Yeah, here it's just declared.
Yeah, last time in Orlando also there was a protest. There were flying banners over Disneyland.
Really?
Yeah, there were.
None of that happens at Disneyland.
Oh.
No, they do that stuff in the Florida event, but there's no protest, there's no nothing in Anaheim.
Well, I guess it would be almost a little more diluted at Disney World because you have all the different parks. Or do they have you been to the one at Disney World?
No.
Okay.
No.
So I don't know if they focus just on the Magic Kingdom or if they do all the parks there.
They were flying actually banners over the area.
I think Florida's quite a conservative state.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They try to blame fires on Gay Days, so
They still have a bush.
It's God's wrath. So.
Whatever, a bush in office.
What about you, Tim? Have you ever been to Gay Days?
Yeah, I've been to a couple times to the one at Disneyland rather. I've always had a really great time with it. Actually, one of the times that we went, I think it was the first time. Ended up meeting a couple employees. It was this younger, kind of chubby gay guy and his fag hag, so to speak. And we ended up, like, my partner and I, and another friend of ours, we went and had some drinks with them and had a good time. And we were, for whatever reason that night, they didn't have fireworks at the castle. But we were hanging out with them, and they were going to take us to Walt's apartment to watch the fireworks, and it just ended up not happening because there wasn't fireworks or whatever that night. But
You mean
anyway,
Walt's apartment above the fire station?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
Yeah, it would have been really cool, but no, didn't happen.
Whoa.
Well, my partner Bill isn't very much into Disney, so he indulged me. Like when I lived in Southern California to visit, he went to Disneyland, and then last January, some of my friends from Southern California went to Disney World, and we joined them, and he did all that. But I have to say that even not being not there during a gay day sort of situation. One time we were in Disneyland right near Christmas, and we were standing in front of the Christmas tree taking pictures of each other. And one of the young ladies that works there, and she goes, "Would you guys like a picture together?" And just plain and simple, no big fuss about it or whatever. Honestly, I couldn't tell you if she was a member of the family or not, but she just treated us like we were anybody else and just recognized us as a couple, and it was very heartwarming. It was very simple. It wasn't all the winking and the subterfuge of the it wasn't
the hang-ups.
All that. It was just like, hey, you guys want a picture together? Oh, you look great. Here you go. And she showed it to us, and she thanked us, and we thanked her, and off we went. And it was really simple. So
Well, the staff is definitely gay friendly.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because most of them are gay.
Yeah. What's your experience with this, Tonio? You've been a little quiet.
Well, actually, this coming year will be my 5th year in a row that I'll be going down for Gay Days. But it's sort of our first time that we're organizing it for Balls of Furry to just sort of go together as a team and represent our tag, if you will, and be there as a team. Since most of us have been there in some capacity together. I think it's just a really fun time more than anything, and I think Vito put it best. It's just like you're a kid, and you can feel free, and you can hold each other's hand, and you might still get a couple of looks, but they're going to be looking a lot that day because everybody is holding hands and just being who they want to be. And Disney as an organization is very gay friendly. I have a relative who actually works in Disneyland, and I've actually got to go back behind the scenes a couple of times and meet some of the cast that's back there, and obviously a lot of those performers are very gay people.
Happy. But here's the big question: what are you doing for your red shirts? That's always like pre-planning.
I think the Balls of
Is that the shirt that you guys are wearing?
Well, that would be one candidate. We had to think about it.
There is more than one day.
I've done.
That's true.
I've
That's
done
true.
thing 1, thing 2, thing 3, like a group of like 6 or 7 of us. We even had them specially made. Thing 7, thing 8, thing 9.
Because things 1 through 4 you can get at Universal Studios.
Yeah, and we just had them specially made and just kept going. And the numbers higher and higher. One
great.
year, my buddy Kenny and I, we did Sarah Palin shirts saying like, I can see. What was the phrase?
I can see Alaska from my house.
Yeah, I can see Alaska from my house.
Or Russia. I can see Russia.
I can see Russia from my house.
Well, she actually can see Alaska from her house, but Russia, probably not. Anyway.
So that was bad. So we put that on the shirts, and we got some looks. Keep talking, because through the years, I've been so many times, just in so many things with these red shirts.
And one suggestion, if I may, if you stay at a Disney hotel, they will give you what's called the magic hour. So you get to go inside the park 1 hour before everybody else, and you can actually enjoy the rides without the kids.
Yes. That's one of the perks of staying at one of the resort hotels, yeah.
They will drive you nuts by the end of the day.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because October, things haven't really died down that much, have they? It's still pretty busy.
It stays busy.
It's
there pretty
really
much
busy,
year-round.
yeah.
My partner's sister is a total junkie when it comes to Disneyland. I mean, last year she was there more days than she wasn't.
Really?
She has season passes. I swear, she was there more days than she was not there for.
That's not healthy. Plus, that sounds very expensive.
How close does she live?
45 minutes, I
It's
think,
not
for an hour.
cheap.
Wow, that's not even close.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, they lived lived in Upland at the time.
Wow.
So yeah, it's a trek, and I just like
Because even Vito and
I would be so sick of it. I mean, I love Disneyland, but I'd be so damn sick of it. I'm sick of it after 3 days.
I lived by Disneyland for almost my whole entire life, and we would just go there at night for dinner sometimes and get a corn dog, or we would just go see the fireworks show. We had special places that we would just hang out and go to.
Or like around downtown or whatever.
Yeah, because we had free parking. We had, well, not free parking. Parking included in our passes. Definitely not free.
It ended up being free pretty quickly, though, if you went that often.
Yeah,
It didn't take too many visits to
absolutely.
make that cash out.
Absolutely. We knew the spots to sit at.
Yeah, because even when Vito and I were in San Diego, we both had passes. I had friends up in Ventura, and he had family in Orange County, and so you could do that. You'd be driving up, the traffic would be heavy. You get off the road and go park for free at Disneyland, go in for a couple hours till the traffic died down, or you just wanted to go to dinner or meet a friend. It was really easy, but we certainly didn't spend more days at Disney than we didn't. That's interesting. There'll be a show on A&E about that person, I'm sure.
That is a little excessive.
Yeah.
Feedback, comments, observations, insights.
Well, I'd actually like to encourage people to go on our Facebook page and put what they've done for their red shirts.
Oh, yeah.
And let's hear some ideas and
Upload some pictures.
And just tell us what you put on your shirts when you went gay days at Disney.
Be great. And then we can rustle up some backscratches for participants, right?
Yeah. And then the next day, Disney's California Adventure, it's like, do you wear the same shirt? No, because you can't be seen in the same clothes. So you have to bring a second shirt. I mean, we even used to have parties. Oh, my God, we used to have hotel parties that Saturday night. Oh, it was a blast. Oh, good times. Anyway, sorry, just reliving a bunch of memories there.
Memories.
Let's all go.
Yeah.
Do a podcast.
Portable. You want to go portable?
Live from Gay Days.
Live from... We could get a room at the hotel.
It's something that I've been intrigued about, but I've never actually done it. It's my birthday's the 1st of October, so I tend to be a little preoccupied around that time. So, but maybe
Sounds like a great birthday gift.
Yeah, one of these years. Yeah, Bill, if you're finally downloading the podcasts, you could take a little hint from Vito there about what a great birthday present that would be.
That would be. All expenses paid trip to Disneyland.
I'll give you a back scratch, Bill Bean. Yeah, I will.
And he could record your reaction when he tells you. When he puts you in the car and, he tells you, we're going to Disneyland. And see what
just a blood-curdling scream.
Or a squee.
Squee, sorry, blood-curdling squee. Because that's too early to do it.
Oh my God, you guys!
Oh my God, it's true!
I think we just broke the new soundboard.
Yes, hopefully it's working well.
And we're back.
Welcome back, everybody.
Hopefully I sound much, much better.
Oh, you do. You sound fabulous.
I sound great. This is Vito.
This is Clay, apologizing for our technical learning curve.
And this is Tim.
And Nino.
Antonio.
There you go.
From the balls of Furry. Doo-doo-doo-doo. So let's talk about some headlines that are out there.
Okay.
What's in the news?
What isn't in the news?
Right?
I don't know. I kind of feel like I'm sounding like a broken record because every recording that we do, we end up talking about Mitt Romney and his crap, and now we have his VP to talk about, and
To me, it's just more evil on top of evil.
Well, one of the funniest things that I saw this week, I mean, aside from just Paul Ryan being a big
douche.
Yes, douche works.
I couldn't find the word.
Well, it's like the whole thing, it's like, I forget when it was, but he had cited Rage Against the Machine as his favorite band. It's like, really? Rage Against the Machine? Really? You're the establishment that they're raging against.
Because they don't get it. They don't understand.
Yeah. And his whole, all into the philosophy of Ayn Rand and Atlas Shrugs and all that sort of stuff. It's just, the guy has no clue.
And what's your favorite musical? American Idiot? He just doesn't get it.
That would be golden. But yeah, I mean, the whole Rage Against the Machine thing, and actually Tom Morello, the guitarist from Rage Against the Machine, actually wrote an op-ed for Rolling Stone just about basically how the guy has no idea what Rage Against the Machine is all about.
Yeah. And what about all these artists stopping or putting
Oh yeah.
the stops on their songs when they're used with anything that has to do with the Republicans?
I didn't see the ad. I was actually looking for it. There was the Silver Sun Pickups, who I'm actually a big fan of. Mitt Romney had used, or one of his super PACs or whatever, had used one of their songs.
Right.
And they had said...
And they said, okay, fine, we'll stop using it even though we have permission to use it.
They said that?
Yes.
Who did they have permission?
Where they have the
from?
Because
umbrella.
it's part of like a big license that they bought, and they can actually use it legally.
Maroon 5?
I think so, yeah. It was Maroon 5,
Yeah.
but they said, we'll stop using it, though.
Well, I thought it was interesting how he came out. We're talking about the VP pick for Romney. Paul Ryan came out against the Obama, some of the money that was raised by Obama to help organizations and businesses and states. And, there was it. I can't remember the word. What's the word? What was the big movement where he raised all that money to earmarked all that money? The stimulus. There we go. The stimulus money. And
that was a movement? Well, I guess they moved some money, yes.
yeah, but now that he's a VP select for Romney, he's saying that he was against it. But,
Oh, right.
But then,
Right.
he's denying that he tried to get some of the money, and then even early, they found instances where he was a big, this is great, early on. So, this whole revisionist history approach.
Right. My staff was responsible for it. It's like, really? That's the tack that you're taking? You're about to be you could possibly end up being a heartbeat away from the presidency, and you're willing to sit here and tell us, oh, I'm not responsible for that. That was my staff.
Well,
You're right, Tim. I'm getting tired of doing the whole Republican bashing, too, because it's just everywhere. It's
Yeah.
so easy now.
Yeah, and I've actually heard a lot of people talk about how, well, not a lot, but a few people here and there say that they're not even going to vote in this election because they don't feel like
That would be totally for the Republicans' favor if
I
they
know.
don't vote.
I know. I mean, the voter fatigue, I think, is going to be really intense this year.
what amazes me is when people say, Obama hasn't really done anything for me. He's fighting a party that's number one stated goal is to block everything he's doing.
Right.
Yeah, they don't care about anything. They just want him out of the office.
And so it's like, well, if he didn't achieve anything, why don't you help him out by getting Congress in
I'm
there
telling
that
you,
would support him?
I've been really extreme lately, and they weren't my family. I probably wouldn't talk to them because they're Republican. I'm being kind of an asshole about it.
Yeah, I mean,
I have a gay couple that are Republicans, and I don't communicate with them anymore. I can't stand it.
it's difficult to be civil in this current environment. It really is becoming an us versus them mentality, and it wasn't that long ago where the differences between people used to joke about American politics being such subtle shades of gray. The difference between a Republican and a Democrat 30, 40, 50 years ago, there wasn't much difference.
Right now, I've even broken it down to good and evil. That's how it occurs for me. It really does. These people are evil, and they think they're being good, and they're on the side of the Lord, and it's completely the opposite, in my opinion.
Makes you wonder if they've even read that Bible that they quote the whole thing, not just the parts that they're quoting.
So I'm very passionate about it.
Well, and some of it's quite irresponsible. I mean, what was this Todd Aiken guy? He was talking about the context of the conversation was about abortion.
Right.
And then he said something very irresponsible about rape. What was that about?
Yeah, well, he had said that women, if it's a legitimate rape, their bodies have a way of shutting all that down.
Shutting all that down.
Shutting it down so there's no conception.
Oh, was this the same principle where it's virtually impossible to get AIDS from heterosexual sex? They had another Republican say that recently, too.
Yeah. So it's...
Interesting.
Taking that tack towards supporting the idea that somebody who's raped and actually conceives a child, well, they really wanted it then. The whole, putting it out there that, well, if it's a legitimate rape, you wouldn't have gotten pregnant. So you must have really wanted it. So you must have really wanted him to fuck you, so you need to deal with this child.
And the pure ignorance of just even the concept of it, and that it's an issue out in the world. He didn't even know.
Well,
it's ridiculous.
The guy's come out and, he said, well, he's apologized for his choice of words, but he hasn't altered his stance at all.
Right.
So.
Well, it was also weird because in the next few hours, Mitt Romney asked for his to quit the race, but actually now, after a couple of days, a lot of people are going to defend this guy. I don't know.
Kirk Cameron.
Well, yeah, he's one. But also,
Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh God!
Big surprise.
well, also there is another official, I think, also from the South, and she said that if you get a child from a rape, you've been blessed by God. Probably God wanted you to have a baby.
Right.
So
Wow.
that's really dangerous, I think.
Yeah.
So
put
not
that
only are
message
you
out there.
forcing me to have this child, you're forcing me to believe in God and say that this is a
Yeah,
blessing.
so they're really poisoning the culture. Like in South Africa, in Africa, I would say in general. There is this myth that if you have sex with a virgin, you will be cured by AIDS.
Right.
So a lot of young people get AIDS for this reason. I mean, HIV from this reason. And
So they think they're getting cured from it by having sex with somebody, and then they're actually giving it to someone.
giving it to somebody.
Nice.
So, spreading these myths have actually can have a lot of bad consequences.
Oh yeah.
Well, and Nino brings up a good point that the ignorance isn't just here in the United States. I know we're getting tired of Republican bashing, but another big headline that came up out of Russia is quite, frightening. This, I think they're a punk girl group, Pussy Riot, and they had done a political / religious protest in a church, and they were arrested. And I guess they just got sentenced to 2 years.
Was it actually at a church, or was it just out in...
My understanding is it was in the church.
Okay.
And so got sentenced to 2 years in a labor camp. So it's kind of like the new Soviet regime,
They still have labor camps?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Well, we have them in Arizona, the sheriff of Maricopa
Oh well,
County,
that's true.
and
Yeah. That's a good point. Well, that's a prison, and then he has a program. But it sounds like these are just labor camps for people that they don't like.
I guess not a lot has changed in the old Soviet regime of the new Russia.
Well, I forget the name of the documentary that was on HBO recently that sort of did this worldwide tour of countries that were gay-friendliest versus anti-gay, and Russia was pretty low. I mean, like,
Oh, yeah.
out of 5 stars, I don't even think they got a complete star out of that. So Russia's a very difficult place to be gay.
Got it. Well, there's no gays in Iran, right? No.
And homosexuality is unknown in Africa. It was only the white men that brought it there. That's what the president of Zimbabwe would have.
Can I do it? Eat the poo-poo.
Okay, so we need to have a link to that on the site.
We already have. That's Eat the Poo-Poo is on like 3 episodes, though, Mr. Tim.
Do we ever link to it then?
Yes, we do.
Oh, okay.
Direct link to the Eat the Poo-Poo YouTube video.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Oh, Vito. Well, how about some out of this
Like
world
an ice cream
headlines?
cone.
Let's leave crazy human politics aside and
Sure.
go to our neighboring planet of Mars. We had a rover landing there. That was pretty exciting.
Mars.
It was exciting. I loved all of the cartoons that came out on Facebook showing
With Marvin the Martian.
Yeah, and with the aliens
Yankee go
showing in
home.
front of the in front of the camera, just like a plain landscape, and then behind it was like a thriving alien city. I thought those were awesome.
And they had Martian the Marvin photobombing.
Photobombing.
And then the one I saw today was a bunch of Martians with a sign that said "Yankee go home" and Martian jobs for Martians.
Oh, there was actually one of the photos that they had today. It was a photo from the rover, and it was like the horizon, and there was the sun and another planet. I don't know what. I'm assuming it could have been Earth, could have been Venus. I don't know what it was, but the way that they were situated on there, it was very reminiscent. That some Star Wars nerds seem to point out that in the first Star Wars movie, well, chronologically in order of release, the first Star Wars movie, when Luke is on Alderaan and there's 2 setting suns in the background, the skyline almost looks identical. It was really weird.
Oh, wow, like Alderaan.
That's fun.
Isn't Alderaan the one that got destroyed?
Or whatever, wherever he grows up as a kid. I'm sure there's going to be somebody
I'm a Star Wars fan, and I'm sure we're going to get slammed.
Dear geeks out there, I barely know Tim. So when you slam him on his own for his ignorance, and then we say, well, why didn't you correct him? Because I'm just as guilty. I don't know.
I've seen those movies a billion times, and I'm all screwed up.
The same place as Jabba the Hutt lived, whatever that was.
Was it?
What?
Yeah, it
Really?
was the same planet as Jabba the Hutt.
Okay.
whatever that was. I don't remember.
Well, I was fascinated with all the animations that they showed about how the rover came to the surface and how complicated that whole process was to bring it down so gently, because they couldn't bounce it like the other ones. It was too big. You know, it was the largest rover that they've ever sent out off of our planet. So it was pretty wild. You know, a lot of technology goes into that.
And it was like NASA, got rid of the space shuttle, right? So this was, I think this is, I'm probably wrong, but this was like the biggest thing they had going.
It's the biggest
going right now.
Biggest active thing they have going. I mean, they're working on manned missions to Mars, and this is the predecessor for that. So they're working up all that stuff.
What have you heard about the dinner conversation between Dan Savage and the bigwig from NOM, National Organization for Marriage?
Yeah, it just came out.
It just came
today.
out a few hours ago. Yeah.
Yeah. So. Our listeners, you may remember that there was a few weeks back that Dan Savage was giving a speech. I believe it was at a high school, and had made the comment about, quote, bullshit in the Bible. And there was actually several students that have got up and walked out of it, like 24 out of 300 or so students. But it turned into a big thing, and so somebody from the National Organization for Marriage had heavily criticized Dan Savage for his comments, and so there was a challenge that was issued that, okay, let's have a debate. We'll talk about this. And this guy from the National Organization of Marriage had come up and said, well, fine, name the place. And Dan Savage said, okay, how about mine? My place. We'll talk after dinner. So he actually had this guy over to his house, and after dinner, they had a debate. There was a moderator who I wish I could remember where the moderator was from. It was actually really great. Dan Savage was very eloquent, very well-spoken. The guy from NOM was eloquent. I wouldn't say well-spoken. He was talking out of his ass quite a bit of it, but it was all very civil, and it was actually, I thought it was brilliant. It's a long watch. It's about an hour, but it's definitely worth it.
Well, any conclusions come from it?
Other than sort of agree to disagree, not so much.
Got it.
Was it civil?
Yes. Yeah.
That's remarkable in today's day and age.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the guy would have had to have some serious, balls the size of, bowling balls to go in there and have, an all-out, drag-out argument with Dan Savage, at his dining room table. So.
But you see, that's what's really interesting about the change in American politics. When I was a kid, my biological father was a dyed-in-the-wool Republican. My stepmother was a dyed-in-the-wool Democrat. They married. They argued vociferously about things all the time, right at the dining room table, and there was a lot of passion, but there was never any disrespect. There was never any venom like you have today. It wasn't evil versus, good versus evil. And I would really like to see us get back to that sort of place. I mean, they managed to have...
Well, when the right side, the completely right side stops hijacking the Republican Party, then maybe we can do that.
Well, and that's part of the message, too, is that this isn't the entire right. It's actually a pretty small percentage of them. So what to say about that?
Now you just defriend them on Facebook.
Oh, right. Which I actually did to someone.
Yeah, right.
I feel bad about it.
Well, no need to apologize.
Yeah.
Well, let's move on to another topic that's kind of interesting, especially here in San Francisco, where getting reception on a radio or a mobile phone can be a bit of a challenge. It's no longer a rumor. They actually have a release date now for the new iPhone 5.
Have they actually announced that? Has Apple announced that?
Third week of September is expected to.
That's what I thought it was an official release. I didn't realize it was. I heard it was a rumor, and then I thought it was officially announced.
I saw it on the news. I didn't. I don't know the exact day in September, but I didn't hear that it was
the
in
12th.
September.
I heard the 12th is that's when they've actually announced. They have something scheduled that date to announce something, but they haven't said what they're announcing.
Oh. Well, Vito, I actually jumped the shark? Is that the right?
Yes, you, Vito.
Yes, I am Vito. I got a compliment about my great voice today, by the way.
Moving on.
Anyway, Okay, so I switched from AT&T to Straight Talk. I guess it's a division or some kind of partner with Walmart, and I know a lot of gay people don't like going to Walmart, but
A lot of straight people don't like going to Walmart.
oh, okay.
Bygones. Go ahead.
AT&T, when I first got my iPhone 3GS is where I started, and then I got the 4, my bill was up to $150 for unlimited everything. And then when mobile to mobile came out, I was able to lower my minute plan and get my bill down to $95 a month. Well, now my phone is unlocked because I've had it for over 2 years. I put another SIM card in it from the Straight Talk company, and now my bill is $46 a month.
Wow.
That's huge.
And how's the performance compare?
The performance, the telephone part, I haven't had any issues with. I've had some issues with the data because you have to. Well, I don't know if it's related, but you have to go in manually and change these settings called the APN settings so that you can do MMS messages.
Okay.
Which I've done, which was a pain in the ass, but I did do it. The challenge is that every once in a while I have a data hole.
That's texting. That's not data.
Phone, and that's not data. But
Okay.
surfing, I have found a few holes where I didn't have before.
In terms of coverage in locations?
Yeah, like I go to surf to bring up a website or to use an app that pulls data, and it just doesn't work.
Well, it's interesting. I too used to have an iPhone, and I was on AT&T, and then when I moved up here, my partner's on Verizon, and so we just decided, we'll just consolidate together. And we originally thought we were going to save money, but I guess we didn't do the math very well because it's basically the same as just having two smartphone plans. Fortunately, we both have. I had unlimited data on my AT&T, and he had the unlimited data on his Verizon, and I joined him just before they stopped doing that. But I have my suspicion that they're playing games with that because literally I'll have 4G service showing up on my phone, and as soon as I hit the Facebook icon, it disappears. And I almost feel like as soon as there's any demand for, high data services that I'm using, that they're nipping it in the bud or something like that.
I think it's called throttling. I think they're throttling you. And by the way, though, when I do have the data on the Straight Talk, it's about a quarter faster than it was on AT&T. But then I know somebody that switched also with me, and he's never had any data issues at all. So I don't know. It might just be the iPhone or just where I'm going. I'm not clear on that. What plans are you guys on?
AT&T?
Yeah, this is Tonio. I have Verizon. I've been on Verizon for like 10 or 11 years, and when the iPhone first came out, I really wanted one, but I wanted to wait for Verizon to get the iPhone because I didn't really want to switch. I've always been pleased with their service. Mm-hmm. So the iPhone I have now is actually the first iPhone I've ever owned. I didn't upgrade to the 4S. I've kept my 4. It's been pretty good overall. I've had some issues with some bugginess. I actually just had to sort of reset it a couple days ago. But
well, there is. I was talking to Nino about this earlier. That there is actually a difference in the networks. When you have an iPhone with AT&T, you're able to be on the phone and surf at the same time.
Yeah, but
And you're
really,
used
how
to
many
do that.
times do you do that?
You do it more than you think you do. If you're on the phone and you go and get some bus directions, or because that's using data. I'm not talking about surfing the web. I'm just talking about anything that uses data. And a lot of apps use data, and I do. When I'm on the phone, I'm doing things, and you can't do that on Verizon and Sprint. It cuts you off. You can only do the one thing at a time, and I didn't know that about those companies.
Right.
It's something to do with the GSM and just the way that their networks are set up. AT&T is the only one where you can do two things at the same time with no issues. Otherwise, you get a message that says you cannot use this at this time. So keep that in mind when you want to switch networks.
Well, probably I never noticed because I use like 30 minutes of a phone call a month and
that's
thousands
true.
and thousands
Most people,
of messages. Yeah, nowadays I don't call anybody. So
that's a good point. You're right. There's a really good point. That's a very good point.
Besides Mom, I don't talk to anybody.
Anybody under the age of 30, I would say, barely uses any phone minutes anymore.
yeah, I don't use my iPhone as a phone anymore. It's
So are you mostly a texter or emailer?
He's mostly on Crawler.
Texter.
That's data, baby.
Texter, definitely Texter.
Yeah, it's huge.
Well, see, I don't have unlimited texts on the Verizon plan, but I have free text back and forth to my partner Bill. So I give everybody my Google Voice number as my mobile phone, and then my Verizon numbers, I ask them to list it as a home phone, so they're not they won't try to use it as a text, and just have them text to Google Voice, which is for free. And that's worked out pretty well. There's some glitches with Google Voice. It's not seamless, but it's, I'm not a hypertexter. And then, and Vito, he likes to text a lot, but then he'll say, "Oh, I didn't understand what you said. We should talk." So, it's weird. Some of us are more adept with it.
I've definitely had this debate with people on that you can't do the complexities of the language with texting. And I think Clay and I have actually had some miscommunications.
Autocorrection issue.
Well, the autocorrection, and it's just the subtleties of the language you don't get with texting. You could think somebody means something else when they mean something else. Apparently, if you're over 30,
well, the thing that I like about the text, though, is you can, unless you're deleting them all the time, you can refer back to them. Like, what did we talk about? Oh, it's right there. So you have a written reference to it. But I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if I could do business with Walmart on a regular basis. It's just such an evil empire.
Well, I have to find out what the relationship is. I don't know if it's a division of theirs, or I do know that they're the only one offering it right now.
Rosemary's Baby.
Rosemary's Baby.
Well, I mean, recently read that if you take the income and wealth of all the Wall descendants, and I think there's 6 of them, it's like 15% of the nation's. They represent, just those 6 people represent 15% of the wealth in this country. And that,
wow.
And, why would anybody want to contribute to that evil empire is beyond me.
That's a good point.
But
thank you, Clay, for being subtle.
Well, I mean, it's not like you're being subtle about your feelings about Republicans, so.
Yeah, I know. Well, $46 compared to $95 is a lot of difference, and that makes a big difference in my life. Now I'm doing cable again. Because of that.
And then maybe that's a whole other topic about, the cost benefits of where you spend your money. But getting back to phones and rate plans, I mean, I spend probably just about $90-something a month for my phone. I think between the two of us, we spend about $185 a month. That's a huge chunk of change. And sometimes I wonder if it's worth it, really. I don't know.
Right now with mine, I'm paying. It's probably around $80 or $90 a month. I'm grandfathered in with the unlimited data for AT&T. But right now, I've been getting everything done through my business. So I've got my local and long distance phone. Actually, the internet's separate, but local and long distance, along with my iPhone plan through my business. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm actually even saving anything. The way everything's bundled together, and we'll see for next month because I'm closing down the business and won't have the business stuff anymore. Changes.
How about you guys, Tonio and Nino? How much do you pay if you don't mind sharing?
I feel like I'm being screwed without lube compared to what you guys pay. But I think another thing for me is that I don't have cable at home, so I don't have Wi-Fi, and I have the broadband plan attached to my cell service, which allows me to have access on my iPad or laptop anywhere I go. So I don't need to actually connect to Wi-Fi. I can. It has the option to do that. But so I pay about $170 a month, but I also don't have a cable bill or internet, so it kind of compensates for it. I think it kind of balances out a little bit.
That's pretty close to balancing out there.
Yeah, that's what I don't like with mine. With my AT&T plan being that I'm still on the unlimited data, they won't let you use your phone as a hotspot, so I couldn't get on it with my laptop or my iPad if I wanted to.
Right.
So.
Well, AT&T will let you do it for another $20, $25 a month.
Well, right. I'd need to do that, and I'd also lose my unlimited data.
Once you change plans?
Right.
Yeah, they just raised the iPad to $30 now instead of $25, so I switched to T-Mobile.
Well, I guess Net Zero is now advertising you can do 4G hotspots for a lot less than what it costs to have mobile broadband from your cell carrier. So that'd be interesting to see how that compares cost-wise. Because I know down in San Diego, I think it was Boost. Oh, was it Cricket? Wasn't that the company?
Oh, Cricket. Yeah, Cricket in San Diego, yeah.
And they would you could get the little mobile hotspot thing, and not be on contract and not pay as much as another company. So there's so many different permutations, but I keep thinking back to when they started talking about making, oh yeah, the internet will make telecommunications will be free. Still waiting, guys. When's that going to happen?
No.
Never. Too many people making too much money.
Ah, I see. Alrighty. Well, any other thoughts about mobile phones? Anybody going to run out and get the iPhone 5 in September when it comes out?
We'll see if I'm working.
I probably will.
Are you?
Yeah.
Well, how old's your current phone?
Just 2 years old.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Is that the
a little
4?
over 2 years. 2 years.
The
Yeah.
4?
Yes.
I'll probably wait till Christmas time. Get mine during Christmas
Let
time.
it be known that Clay is the only one without an iPhone at this table, it looks like.
Yeah, but guys, I'm actually considering switching to the dark side.
Oh, wow. And after all the shit you gave me when I switched to an Android?
I know, because
He almost unfriended me on Facebook.
I jailbroke the phone.
I don't do Android.
And, I'm finding
I can't hear you.
I'm finding out all these cool features that the iPhone doesn't have that these Android. I'm totally confused about what is what, and ginger basket and gingerbread and
What is that?
what are
Ginger
these
basket.
Chocolate macaroon.
chocolate macaroon operating system, all that stuff. And then every time we turn around, someone's coming out with some new hardware. I'm like, who's the best? What's the best? I'm a little confused. But there's so many cool little features because I like gadgets that aren't on the iPhone.
And I'll tell you one thing. I just sold my old iPhone 3GS to a friend of mine, and because it was off contract, and so we got it unlocked by AT&T, and she put her T-Mobile SIM in, and it works like a champ for her, and she's really happy with it. And even after almost 2 years of having an Android, I still pick it up upside down all the time. I don't know why the weight distribution, I'm used to the way the iPhone was, and when I pull this out of my pocket, I always have it upside down. I never pull it out right side up. And my fingers still try to control the volume in an iPhone way. Even after over a year and a half of having this damn thing, I'm still not used to it. It's so funny. My first smartphone was an iPhone, and I keep trying to treat this Android as if it's an iPhone, and it's really funny. It's not that different, but it's different enough to mess you up. All right. Well, enough about our iPhones and Androids and all those other things. So, Vito, tell us about your little web drama that you love so much, Where the Bears Are. We talked about that a little bit last time.
We talked about them last week, but I guess they're episode 6. I've only seen 3, but those guys are getting quite a following, and it's quality.
Yeah, this is Tim. It's really well done, and each episode has just a good balance of comedy and enough going on with each story that it's engaging. You're looking forward to the next one, and luckily they're not waiting. I think they're putting out maybe 2 or 3 a week. Something like that.
Well, they're just
a
little
couple of
5 minutes, right? 5 minutes.
Like 4 or 5
segments.
minute episodes.
Yeah.
But
So you guys wanted to talk about it again, so I'll put the link on again.
So, do you guys have any hypothesis who is the killer?
of course, we're supposed to think that it's Todd, Hot Toddy, but I don't know. We'll see. It's too early on.
Oh, I haven't gotten that far.
Hot Toddy?
No.
What do you
Kill his own roommate?
Oh, just the guy died in the bathtub, and they're trying to figure out what to do about it.
Well, there's all these.
And the guy
They're
just.
implying that it's him. Just the fact that he keeps leaving every time the cops want to talk to him.
Oh, that's right. He left the first time.
Right.
That's where I stopped.
And he still hasn't talked to the cops in episode
really?
6. He's been dodging the cops.
Yeah.
And I'm
Does
afraid
he ever put his shirt on? I hope not.
Does he need to?
No,
Okay.
absolutely not.
Yeah, I'm only afraid that his boyfriend will get in trouble for him.
Yeah, the cute one.
Yeah, the cute one.
Oh, by the way, we never
Nino
explained.
and I have a similar type, so we both think that.
We have good taste.
We never explained Nino's accent. By the way.
Oh, I'm local. I'm from
Yeah. Yeah.
San Francisco, native.
He's from the Mission. La Raza.
Sí.
Where in Italy are you from?
I'm from the south.
The south.
Yeah, southeast. The region is called Puglia.
Is there a city?
Yeah, the city is called Foggia, but not very famous.
What's the closest major city?
Bari, Naples.
Bari. Yeah, Naples.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've some of my relatives are from Bari.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
And Florence.
My partner's last name is Vigna, and his family's from the Cinque Terre area.
Oh, okay.
Liguria.
Yes.
Have you been to the Liguria Bakery over in North Beach?
No, I don't think I have.
Yeah, you got to check that out. They make really good the focaccia like with all the different flavors and stuff like that. Very old school, How many you are? How many you want? Boom, boom, boom. And when they're sold out, they're sold out. They close the door. It's really a hoot. But he's responsible for getting all the focaccias when we go down to see his family for holidays. They live down in Salinas.
I'm getting hungry now.
Yeah.
Do you go to North Beach much?
Sometimes.
Yeah. Is it just sort of like, this has nothing to do with Italy?
Yeah, I have to say that San Francisco offers so much in terms of diversity that I try not to go to Italian restaurants because I've already tried them. I tried the original stuff, so why should I?
Well, is there one like standout place that you could say here in San Francisco that is like, wow, that reminds me a lot of home? And if you say Buca de Beppo, I'm gonna slap the shit out of you.
No. No, that's an okay food. I mean, it's not too bad. It's not
Italian
memorable, but I have to say there are quite a few places here that really impress me. Like, for example, there is this place here around the corner, Poesia, across the street from the Midnight Sun. It's really, really good. So, and there are a lot of places. Aquarello, obviously, I'm not, saying anything new. And Delfina.
Have you been to Farina Focaccia down on 18th? A little bit further down, almost to the Mission.
Right. No.
That's really good. But Poesia is wonderful too.
Okay,
yeah.
I'll check that out.
Yeah, it's a little expensive, but it's good. Well, unless there's anything
I can
else,
cook better than that.
So when are you having us over for dinner?
Well, let's do it.
All right. Woohoo!
He hasn't even had me over for dinner.
Well, you can come too. Don't feel left out. We'll bring you. So why don't we start going around the table and doing our back scratches?
Okay.
And why don't we start with our guests? So, Nino, who are you going to back scratch?
Well, I want to back scratch my volleyball team first of all, since we're gonna have this awesome adventure coming up, starting tomorrow, all throughout the weekend.
You're going to send us a video link to your back scratches in the hot tub in Long Beach?
I will.
Awesome.
And yes, if you can give me a picture of the hot tub
Okay.
with all the boys in it, that would be awesome.
Or a video.
Okay, and also I wanted to back scratch Jeff Glover and his Bears in the Park because he always hosts us and he's very gracious and we thank him for that.
Yeah.
And
he offers a great public service, doesn't he?
well, yeah, I think he just came up once and he said, hey, let's all meet in the park. And 300 people showed up and said, hey, let's do it every month. It's a lot of fun. So
There
I
you
think
go.
it was very successful.
The power of social media.
Yeah. And Tony, do you want to add anything else?
Yeah, I mean, just kind of piggyback, Nino. We've had a lot of sponsors that have come out to help us in a lot of ways, and not just in helping us get the word out, but I mean even financially. So the Edge Bar has been really helpful in the fundraising process for us because we do a lot of events, a lot of fundraising. PO Plus has been one of our sponsors in the past. Fort Cafe, which is just around the corner from here, they've also been very faithful in having us over. And
and their chicken sandwich.
actually, I love their
chicken sandwich.
Fried
Let's go
mac
later.
and cheese. I think we probably will stop by there on the way home.
And which one is this?
Fort Cafe, they're brand new, just right up here.
That's where I met you a couple weeks ago.
Across from 440.
Oh, Fork.
Yeah.
Fork.
I was hearing floor, and I'm like, oh, wait, what? Okay.
It's that Italian thing.
Anywho. Sorry.
And I think
Big
has also been a supporter. They had a fundraiser for us over at
The Lone Star.
Lone Star's also had a fundraiser for us as well.
So we've done a lot of it.
Yeah.
That's a lot of back scratches. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot
Like
of furry
that.
balls.
Oh, we do that. Yeah.
And actually, just for a couple of individuals, I think a couple of people that I want to mention. John Chen, who is our coach and sort of one of the original founders of our group that sort of had the inspiration to put the group together. Our two main team captains, Ben Zito and Randy Christensen, do a great job in leading the teams when we're together. And then also my co-manager, which is Adam Keem, who actually works over at PL Plus. He's kind of my partner in crime and helps us keep things organized. So,
Yay, Adam.
great bunch of guys. We're definitely a lot like a family.
Well, that's great.
Cool.
Cool. The only back scratch I have this week is from my partner Bill, who's putting up with my temperamental search for employment. It's a little discouraging, but hanging in there. And how about you, Tim? Who are you going to back scratch?
Well, first Backscratch with all you guys, especially Nino and Antonio for coming out.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
for
Thank
the,
you.
Thanks for having
It was
us.
fun.
Balls of Furry volleyball team. I almost said softball team. Sorry.
Our balls are bigger.
That's true.
Have you thought about a shirt that says that? We should
totally do
Yeah,
that.
that's-
Our balls.
that's
are-
We'll give you one. We'll give you one.
Our balls are bigger.
My good friend Andrew's his partner Dave, Mike and Steve, and my partner James. Love you bunches.
Oh, what about the dog?
Oh, and Peaches
And
too.
Peaches.
Oh, well, then I have to backscratch Scarlet.
Yes, you do.
Right down there by the tail.
Oh,
Oh.
and one last Backscratch. I need to Backscratch Clay's shirt because he looks like he works at Trader Joe's.
I was wondering if someone was going to notice my shirt. I got it on sale at Old Navy.
Not Trader Joe's.
No.
Well, now that we've talked about it, I have to take a picture of it. Show everybody.
Well, and I think Nino has some good pictures of it, too. So.
Quite
All
a
right,
few.
there we
Yeah,
go.
you
Done.
can share those pictures with us.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I would like to backscratch my boyfriend, Tarek.
Is that the first time you said that in public?
Yes.
Yay!
I'd also like to backscratch my dad, who was in the hospital,
Papa
Grandolfo,
Grandolfo.
after receiving a lung transplant.
Wow.
Yes, and apparently it's not as a comfortable thing as he thought it was going to be. I don't know what he was thinking.
What do you
Did he
think
think it was
it was
going to be a walk in the park?
Cataract surgery? Zip done?
I don't know what he was thinking, but apparently he's miserable.
Oh.
And
So
I
you
talked to
sent
him
a pack
yesterday.
Of balloons.
He's like, "Oh, this is so bad." I sent him a balloon and a teddy bear yesterday, and then my mother called me and said what a great, spirit lifter it was for him. So I've put it on my Facebook. And people are sending him balloons. I have the address and everything
Blown
out there.
up
By the time this
balloons.
comes out, it'll be
They're
too late.
thoughtful.
What?
Blown up balloons. They're thoughtful.
Yes, not just balloons.
There was a little confusion before we started. It's like,
Yeah.
you sent someone who just had a lung transplant empty balloons to attempt to blow them up. That is so inappropriate, Vito.
No, you call the gift shop and you have them send a balloon already ready to go, Tim, okay?
Okay, got it.
It costs $5, put it on my Facebook, and people are sending balloons. So I want to backscratch the people that have sent my father balloons.
Yay.
Like I said, by the time this comes out, it'll be too late, so don't bother. Even though he probably still will be in the hospital for the next 2 weeks.
Wow.
But anyway, I just think that's crazy that he went ahead with this thing. Just can't even imagine.
Well, our best wishes to your dad
Thank you.
and your mom for having to put up with him because he's probably not all that good of a patient. He's related to you, so I can't imagine he's easy to deal with.
Right. She gets to stop babysitting my brother's kids, so I think she's happy about that.
Well, thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Check us out on iTunes and BearElement.com.
That's right. And comments, please. Comments on everything.
And don't forget to post your red shirt pictures from gay days at Disneyland and Disney World.
Mm-hmm.
You can see what everybody's wearing.
And check our Facebook page too, Balls of Furry on Facebook.
Woohoo!
All right.
Bye, everybody.
Good night.
Take care.
Good night.
Visit us at bearelement.com.